Have you ever noticed how a single careless word or thoughtless action can feel like it has the power to derail your entire day? Perhaps it was an indifferent shrug, a cutting remark, or an unexpected obstacle that sent ripples of frustration through you. But imagine if none of it had the ability to touch you. If you could move through life with an unshakable core, where negativity slides off you like rain against a well-built roof. What if, instead of reacting, you simply observed? What if, rather than absorbing the weight of others' emotions, you let them drift past you like fallen leaves on a river? Picture yourself standing firm, completely unshaken, regardless of the chaos that others attempt to stir around you. This isn't an unattainable dream. It's a skill, a choice, a path to absolute mastery over your emotional landscape. There's a profound secret to emotional mastery, and it has nothing to do with denying your emotions or pretending to be indifferent. Instead, it hinges on cultivating an unshakable awareness of your own power, the power to navigate life's inevitable turbulence with grace, the ability to respond intentionally rather than reacting impulsively, and the strength to hold your ground without being swayed by external forces. True emotional freedom is not a temporary state of relief, but a fundamental shift in perspective, a permanent rewiring of how you engage with the world. The moment you refuse to surrender control of your emotions to outside circumstances, you claim something invaluable, the deep, abiding ability to craft your inner world as a sanctuary, untouched by the chaos that surrounds you. It's not wishful thinking, it's a skill, and it can be yours. This journey isn't merely about managing anger or frustration. It's about stepping into a realm of self-mastery where no external force can shake your foundation. It's about reclaiming the sovereignty of your inner world, reinforcing the walls that guard your peace, and becoming impervious to the chaos of others. True resilience isn't just about enduring the storm. It's about walking through it with grace, untouched and unshaken. The moment you stop reacting on autopilot and start engaging with the world through deliberate clarity, resilience, and self-awareness, everything shifts. Challenges no longer feel like burdens to carry or conflicts to conquer. They transform into opportunities, portals for growth, lessons in patience, and reminders of the power you hold over your mind. Imagine moving through life like a seasoned traveler, unbothered by the turbulence of the journey, understanding that every detour holds a hidden lesson, every delay a chance for reflection. Picture yourself no longer weighed down by the expectations, criticisms, or chaos imposed by others. Instead, you stand firmly in your own truth, navigating situations with a composed mind and an unshakable heart. With this perspective, life ceases to be a battlefield where every encounter is a struggle for dominance. Instead, it becomes a harmonious dance where every step, whether forward or backward, is a movement toward greater awareness and mastery over your emotions. Emotional freedom is not just a concept. It is a living, breathing practice. It is a skill that is refined each day through conscious awareness, thoughtful decision-making, and an unwavering commitment to inner peace. Like a sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble, shaping it into something purposeful and beautiful. You shape your emotional landscape through deliberate choices. The more you engage with this process, the more it transforms you, not only in how you handle adversity, but in the way you perceive and interact with the world around you. Every challenge becomes a lesson, every difficulty an opportunity to deepen your resilience, and every moment an invitation to exercise your mastery over your own mind. Let's begin. There's a moment before every reaction, a pause, so brief it often goes unnoticed. But in that space lies your greatest power, choice. It is in this fleeting instant that you decide whether to allow external events to dictate your emotions or to reclaim control over your state of mind. This pause is the gateway to transformation, where emotional intelligence takes root, where wisdom replaces impulse, and where true inner strength is cultivated. The Stoics believe that this moment, this brief interval between stimulus and response, is the very essence of human freedom. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, emphasized the importance of inner fortitude, teaching that while we cannot control external events, we have absolute dominion over our responses to them. He often wrote about the discipline of perception, training oneself to see situations as neutral before attaching meaning or emotion to them. Seneca, too, advised that the wise person does not surrender their peace to the whims of circumstance, but instead cultivates an unshakable inner calm. He spoke of adversity as a test of character, a necessary fire that tempers the soul. To Seneca, external hardships were not misfortunes but opportunities to refine resilience and deepen wisdom. Epictetus, another revered Stoic, went even further, asserting that true freedom comes from understanding that our judgments, not external events, dictate our emotional state. He taught that suffering arises not from what happens to us, but from how we interpret what happens. By embracing this philosophy, we reclaim our agency. We cease to be victims of unpredictable circumstances and instead become architects of our inner world. Each situation, no matter how challenging, offers a moment of choice, a chance to strengthen our mental discipline and solidify our emotional mastery. This is not about suppressing emotions, but about meeting them with wisdom, transforming impulses into thoughtful action, and ensuring that our inner tranquility remains unshaken by the turbulence of life. This philosophy is not just a lofty ideal but a practical guide for life. Every time you feel a surge of irritation, a wave of anger, or a pull toward impulsivity, remember, you have a choice. You can either give in to fleeting emotions, allowing them to hijack your thoughts and dictate your actions, or you can pause, reflect, and deliberately choose the path of wisdom. This moment of self-awareness is where true mastery is cultivated. It is in these seemingly small, everyday decisions, whether to react or to rise above, that resilience is built. Each time you make this conscious decision, you reinforce your inner discipline, sharpening your ability to remain composed even in the face of adversity. The more you practice, the stronger you become, until emotional stability is no longer something you strive for, but something that defines you. Mastery is not a single choice. It is a lifelong commitment to choosing wisdom over impulse, clarity over confusion, and peace over reactivity. To develop this skill, practice observing your thoughts without immediately reacting to them. Imagine yourself as an impartial spectator, watching your emotions arise and fade like clouds passing across the sky. By training yourself to step back and assess situations with clarity, you cultivate the resilience that Stoics revered, the ability to stand firm in the storm without being swayed by its winds. Mastering this practice doesn't mean suppressing emotions, but rather engaging with them wisely. It means transforming frustration into patience, fear into courage, and irritation into understanding. With each pause, you reinforce the mindset of a true Stoic, one who governs themselves with reason, acts with integrity, and refuses to be a slave to external conditions. In this space before reaction, you hold the key to ultimate freedom. Embrace it, and you embrace the strength of a mind unshaken by the chaos of the world. The ability to harness this moment requires practice and self-awareness. At first, it may seem elusive, buried beneath years of conditioned responses and habitual reactions. But as you learn to recognize and expand this space, you unlock an extraordinary power, the freedom to shape your emotional experience with intention. Instead of being swept away by external chaos, you become the eye of the storm, calm, centered, and immovable. This is not about suppressing emotions or denying their presence. It's about welcoming them with curiosity, engaging with them consciously, and tracing their origins to uncover deeper self-awareness. When emotions arise, they carry valuable messages, insights about our needs, boundaries, and unresolved wounds. Instead of allowing them to dictate our actions impulsively, we can approach them with mindfulness, acknowledging their presence without allowing them to consume us. Every pause is an opportunity to rewrite old narratives, to dismantle limiting beliefs, and to step out of habitual, conditioned reactions. In that pause, we reclaim our agency, making room for conscious choice instead of compulsive response. This is where growth happens, where self-mastery is cultivated. By embracing this practice daily, we transform our relationship with emotions, allowing them to guide us without overpowering us, ultimately leading to a life lived with clarity, intention, and unshakable peace. Embrace the pause. In it lies the key to a life lived on your own terms. It's easy to fall into the habit of reacting instinctively, allowing emotions to dictate our responses before we even have a chance to think. But true mastery comes when you can train yourself to recognize this pause, embrace it fully, and use it as a moment of power to steer your response consciously. This skill is not developed overnight. It requires practice, awareness, and a commitment to self-reflection. Over time, it becomes second nature, an ingrained ability to observe emotions without being overwhelmed by them, to delay reaction without suppressing what you feel, and to choose a response rooted in wisdom rather than impulsive reactivity. This self-control is not about repression. Rather, it is about creating space for clarity and intention. It is what sets apart those who are truly free from the grip of external chaos, those who have learned to remain steady in a storm, unfazed by temporary disturbances, and unwavering in their commitment to inner peace. At Practical Philosophy, our mission is to help you harness this power of choice and emotional mastery. Subscribe to our channel for more insights on personal transformation, mindset shifts, and strategies for cultivating an unshakable inner world. Let's walk this journey together towards greater self-awareness and lasting peace. Picture this. You're savoring the serenity of a quiet morning, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filling the air, when suddenly someone disrupts your tranquility with an unnecessary complaint or a dismissive remark. Instantly, a flicker of irritation ignites within you, the sting of perceived disrespect pressing against your calm demeanor. A familiar dialogue loops in your mind. Why do they act this way? Why can't people be more thoughtful? Before you even realize it, your peace has been hijacked, and the emotions they stirred linger far longer than the words themselves. Except they didn't. They acted, but you reacted. And in that reaction lay your true power, the power to decide, to pause, to reframe. That moment of response belongs solely to you, an opportunity to rise above, to choose peace over turmoil, and to reclaim control over your emotional state. Imagine this moment as a gateway, a test of your discipline and self-mastery. The Stoics taught that external events have no true power over us, only our judgments about them do. When faced with negativity, you stand at a crossroads. Will you let it dictate your emotions? Or will you harness your inner fortitude and maintain your composure? By consciously choosing to pause and evaluate the situation rather than react impulsively, you gain an invaluable advantage. You reclaim your inner peace, establish your own terms of engagement, and cultivate a mind that remains untethered to external chaos. Every reaction is a chance to reinforce this strength, to prove to yourself that no external force has the authority to disturb your tranquility. The more you practice, the more this skill becomes second nature, an unwavering state of control in the face of life's inevitable turbulence. Now, imagine instead that you take a deep, intentional breath. You feel the air fill your lungs, grounding you in the present moment. You let the words pass through you, like a breeze weaving through towering trees, shifting without resistance. You recognize the moment for what it is, an opportunity to rise above, to exercise your power of choice. Instead of engaging, you release the need to react. Instead of absorbing negativity, you allow it to dissipate like mist in the morning sun. The situation loses its grip on you, dissolving into the background, while your peace remains unshaken, unbothered, untouchable. That is true power. You are the guardian of your own emotions. No one else. The world will always test you. Traffic, criticism, interruptions, inconveniences, but none of it has to dictate how you feel. Each challenge, each unwelcome remark, each unexpected setback is merely an event. Its impact depends entirely on your perception. The moment you recognize that your peace is independent of external circumstances, you step into a new realm of self-mastery. You become untouchable, not because the world stops testing you, but because you no longer allow it to shake you. Instead of reacting, you observe. Instead of absorbing negativity, you let it pass through you like a gentle breeze. This is your power, your ability to choose serenity over turmoil, strength over reactivity, and clarity over confusion. Expectation is a silent thief, stealthily robbing you of peace before you even realize its presence. It plants illusions of certainty in an uncertain world, making you believe that others should act according to your personal script. But the truth is, people operate within their own realities, driven by their own motives, beliefs, and experiences. When reality fails to align with these preconceived notions, frustration and disappointment inevitably follow. True emotional freedom comes when you release these invisible chains of expectation and embrace what is, rather than clinging to what should be. Think about the last time you felt let down by someone. Maybe a friend didn't show up when you needed them. Maybe a colleague dismissed your idea in a meeting. Maybe you expected kindness and were met with indifference. The sting of disappointment followed, not because of what happened, but because of the expectations you had placed on the situation, expectations that were never guaranteed to be met. The Stoics teach us that clinging to expectations is like building a house on shifting sand. The more rigidly we assume others should behave according to our standards, the more we set ourselves up for inevitable frustration. People act according to their nature, shaped by experiences and motivations we may never fully comprehend. They do not live by our assumptions, nor are they bound by our silent hopes for how they should respond. Instead of allowing unmet expectations to steal your peace, take a step back and observe reality as it is. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It means recognizing that others are not responsible for living up to the ideals we project onto them. When we stop expecting people to act a certain way, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. We shift our energy away from disappointment and toward understanding, allowing ourselves to respond with wisdom rather than frustration. This is not just a mental exercise. It is a path to true emotional liberation. The Stoics teach us that suffering often stems not from external events, but from the judgments we attach to them. When we expect others to behave in a way that aligns with our values, we set ourselves up for disappointment. We assume that they see the world as we do, that they prioritize as we do, that they hold the same sense of duty or loyalty. But people act according to their own nature, shaped by their own experiences and beliefs, not ours. Instead of lamenting unmet expectations, shift your perspective. Observe people as they are, not as you wish them to be. Free yourself from the illusion that they owe you a specific behavior. True equanimity comes from adjusting your mindset, from accepting what is rather than dwelling on what should have been. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom. Control what is within your power, your thoughts, your reactions, your perspective, and release attachment to that which is beyond it. In doing so, you fortify your peace against the unpredictability of human behavior. But why did it hurt? Because you assumed they would act as you would. You expected them to mirror your values, your level of consideration. But people are shaped by their own experiences, guided by their own internal logic. When they act differently than you expect, it's not a betrayal. It's simply a reflection of their own path, their own nature. When you understand this, frustration fades. You stop seeing their actions as personal offenses and instead recognize them as expressions of who they are, independent of your expectations. Acceptance of this truth is what frees you from unnecessary suffering. Now, shift your perspective. People act based on their experiences, their priorities, their mindset. They are governed by their own internal narratives, shaped by factors you may never fully understand. They are not following your internal script because they are the protagonists of their own stories, not supporting characters in yours. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you liberate yourself from the frustration of unmet expectations. Instead of demanding that others act in ways that align with your ideals, focus on adjusting your response. Recognizing this truth is not an act of resignation but of empowerment. It allows you to reclaim your peace by detaching from the need for others to conform to your vision of how things should be. Instead of expecting others to behave a certain way, focus on your own response. Let people be who they are, as they will be regardless of your expectations. The world operates by its own rules, and individuals follow their own internal compass, shaped by experiences beyond your control. Your strength lies not in dictating their actions, but in governing your own. Decide who you want to be in the face of life's unpredictability. one who is reactive and unsettled, or one who stands firm in peace and self-mastery? Let's talk about the need to be right. It's a deceptive snare, an illusion of victory that often disguises itself as a noble pursuit. Yet in reality, it leads only to unnecessary conflict, strained relationships, and inner turmoil. The desire to prove ourselves correct can feel like a validation of intelligence, a reinforcement of our sense of self. But when examined through the lens of Stoic philosophy, this need is nothing more than an attachment to ego, to external validation, and to the illusion that winning an argument equates to winning in life. True wisdom, as the Stoics teach us, lies not in always proving oneself right, but in understanding when to let go, when to choose peace over pride, and when silence holds more power than 1,000 words spoken in heated debate. How often have you engaged in a pointless argument, determined to prove your point? Maybe it was about something trivial, directions, the proper way to complete a task, or a minor misunderstanding. Or maybe it was something deeply personal. You stood your ground, determined to assert your correctness, marshaling facts, logic, or personal experiences to support your case. And then, did it bring the satisfaction you anticipated? Did it strengthen your relationships or lead to a more profound understanding? Or did it leave you feeling exhausted, frustrated, and no closer to true peace? The need to be right is often driven by ego, by the subconscious desire to validate our self-worth through intellectual dominance. But in the grand scheme of life, does winning an argument truly enhance your inner tranquility? The Stoics teach us that true wisdom is found not in always proving others wrong, but in knowing when to let go. A person secure in themselves does not need to impose their perspective on others. They understand that peace is a far greater prize than being declared correct. Next time you find yourself on the verge of an argument, pause, take a deep breath, and step back from the moment. Ask yourself, is this discussion worth my energy? Will proving my point truly add value to my life? Or is it merely feeding my ego? Arguments fueled by the need to be right often lead to tension, wasted time, and fractured relationships. The Stoics remind us that peace is not found in the conquest of conversation, but in the mastery of our own reactions. True wisdom lies in restraint, in choosing when to speak and when to let silence be your response. In many cases, the greatest victory is not in proving your point, but in preserving your inner calm and refusing to be pulled into unnecessary strife. Ask yourself not just if the argument is worth winning, but whether it is worth your peace. Most of the time, the need to be right stems from a deeper insecurity. We subconsciously tie correctness to self-worth, as if admitting fault diminishes who we are. But it doesn't. In fact, the ability to release the compulsion to win every argument is a profound display of confidence and inner security. The truly strong individual understands that being wrong does not equate to weakness. Rather, it signals a willingness to grow, to adapt, and to prioritize wisdom over pride. When you let go of the need to prove yourself, you liberate your mind from unnecessary tension and create space for genuine understanding and peace. Ask yourself, would I rather be right, or would I rather be at peace? Not every disagreement requires your energy. Not every battle needs to be fought. Ask yourself, is this argument leading to growth, or is it merely a contest of egos? The strongest person is not the one who wins every debate, but the one who knows when to walk away with their peace intact. Choose your battles with wisdom, and you will find that true strength lies not in confrontation, but in the ability to rise above unnecessary conflict. Words have power, but only the power you allow them to hold over you. They are merely sounds shaped by breath, symbols arranged on a page, expressions of another's perspective, not an ultimate truth about who you are. It is not the words themselves that wound or uplift, but your interpretation of them. If you attach significance to another's criticism, it gains weight. If you dismiss it as irrelevant, it evaporates like mist. The Stoics teach us that it is within our control to assign meaning to words, or to strip them of their influence entirely. Master this, and you master yourself. Someone dismisses your ideas. Someone criticizes your choices. Someone makes a snide remark, and suddenly, your confidence wavers. Why? Because, For a fleeting moment, you handed them the power to dictate your worth. You let their words take root in your mind, as if they had the authority to define who you are. But they don't. They never did. The weight of their words is not inherent, it is assigned. And you are the one who assigns it. If you decide that their judgments are meaningless, they lose their grip on you. If you recognize that their opinions are merely projections of their own experiences, fears, or limitations, they cease to carry any real significance. A mind fortified in self-awareness does not crumble under the weight of fleeting words. A heart anchored in self-worth does not bend to external validation. Remember this: your value is not determined by consensus. It is not subject to approval or rejection. It exists independent of anyone else's perception, beyond fleeting judgments and societal validation. Your worth is not a reflection of external opinions, but an inherent truth that stands unshaken, regardless of how others see you. The moment you stop internalizing the perspectives of others, you step into a new realm of freedom, a space where self-assurance is cultivated from within, not borrowed from the outside world. In that freedom, you become untouchable, unshakable, and entirely in control of your own sense of worth. But here's the truth: no one's opinion changes your worth. Praise or criticism, admiration or disapproval, none of it alters who you are at your core. Your intrinsic value remains untouched by fleeting judgments, for they are nothing more than reflections of another's perception, shaped by their own biases and experiences. When you tie your sense of self to external validation, you surrender your autonomy, handing over the keys to your confidence to forces outside your control. True freedom comes when you detach from the need for approval, recognizing that your worth is self-defined, independent of the shifting opinions of the world. Detach. Reclaim that power. Let words be words, fleeting, impermanent, and ultimately powerless unless you choose to assign them meaning. Nothing more. In that detachment, you find your strength, your clarity, and the unshakable truth that your inner peace belongs only to you. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Boundaries are not selfish. They are essential for self-preservation and mental clarity. Without them, you become depleted, exhausted, stretched too thin, giving endlessly while neglecting your own needs. And when you give too much without balance, resentment festers, silently eroding your peace. True self-care begins with understanding that protecting your time and energy is not an act of selfishness, but an act of self-respect. Protect your time. Protect your energy. Say no when needed, without guilt or hesitation, because every yes to others is a no to yourself. Every moment you give away without intention is a piece of your peace sacrificed. Guard it fiercely, for your well-being is the foundation upon which everything else in your life is built. Prioritizing yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary, and your peace matters more than any obligation imposed by others. And then, there's silence. Silence is a response, a powerful one. When someone provokes you, when anger threatens to take hold, silence becomes your fortress. It is the refusal to be baited, the conscious decision to disengage from pointless conflict. It starves negativity of fuel, leaving provocation unanswered and stripping it of its intended power. In silence, you assert control, not over others, but over yourself. You rise above, untethered by the expectations of reaction, embodying the wisdom of restraint and the strength of measured stillness. The Stoics understood that silence is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of self-mastery. It is the space where reflection replaces impulse, where clarity emerges from chaos. When words are spoken in anger, they are often regretted. When reactions are immediate, they lack thought. But silence gives you time. It allows emotions to settle, understanding to surface, and wisdom to guide your next step. In that space, you decide, will I escalate this? Will I allow this to disturb my peace? Or will I remain unmoved, preserving my energy for what truly matters? Silence does not mean inaction. It means choosing where to place your power. And sometimes, the greatest strength is found not in speaking, but in the quiet, unwavering presence of self-control. Not every attack requires a counterattack. Sometimes, the strongest move is none at all. True power is found in restraint, in the ability to recognize that engagement is not always necessary. The Stoics likened unnecessary conflicts to wrestling with a pig. Both emerge covered in mud, but only one chose to step into the pit. By refusing to be drawn into needless battles, you assert dominance over your emotions and safeguard your inner peace. Seneca reminds us that what injures us is not the insult itself, but our perception of it. If we remain unmoved, the insult loses its sting, dissolving into insignificance. Strength is not about meeting force with force, but about discerning where your energy is best invested. When you refuse to retaliate, you strip the attack of its power, reducing it to nothing more than passing wind. True mastery lies in this wisdom, the ability to recognize what deserves your attention and what is best left ignored. There is an antidote to anger: gratitude. You cannot be both grateful and angry at the same time. When frustration rises, shift your focus. What can you appreciate in this moment? What is still good? The mind cannot hold anger when it is filled with thankfulness. Gratitude acts as a powerful disruptor to negative emotions, dissolving irritation and offering a path to inner peace. It reframes hardships, allowing you to see challenges not as burdens, but as lessons, not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. When you train yourself to seek gratitude even in difficult moments, you fortify your emotional resilience, ensuring that anger and frustration lose their grip on you. A mind steeped in gratitude becomes unshakable, anchored in the recognition that there is always something to appreciate. No matter the circumstances, gratitude rewires you. It dissolves irritation, replaces frustration with peace, and transforms your perception of reality. Make it a practice, not just an occasional thought, but a daily habit ingrained in your mindset. Train yourself to notice the small blessings, the quiet moments of beauty, the lessons hidden within challenges. Let gratitude be your foundation, your anchor, and your refuge. The more you cultivate it, the more you realize that peace is not found in external circumstances, but in your ability to appreciate the present moment. No matter how imperfect it may seem, consider this: every moment holds an opportunity for gratitude, even those laced with discomfort. A delay can be a chance to practice patience. A challenge can be a doorway to growth. A difficult conversation can be a lesson in understanding. The Stoics remind us that while we cannot always control what happens, we can always control how we interpret it. When we shift our mindset to seek gratitude, we transform even the most trying situations into opportunities for wisdom and strength. Start small. Begin your day with a reflection on what you're thankful for. Perhaps the warmth of the morning sun, the comfort of a familiar routine, or the mere fact that you have another day to live and grow. Throughout the day, pause when frustration arises and ask yourself, what is there to be grateful for in this moment? At night, reflect on what went well, no matter how minor. These small shifts accumulate, rewiring your mind to focus on abundance rather than lack, on appreciation rather than frustration. Gratitude is not just a fleeting feeling. It is a discipline, a way of life. When you cultivate it with intention, you create an internal sanctuary, a space where external circumstances no longer dictate your inner state. You become resilient, untouchable, and deeply content, not because life is perfect, but because you have mastered the ability to see its beauty, even in imperfection. Criticism is not an attack. It is information. Yes, some criticism is harsh, some is unfair, but within every critique, there is an opportunity to learn. Reframe it. Instead of reacting defensively, ask, is there truth in this? Can I grow from this? Even the sharpest words, when examined with an open mind, may contain a kernel of wisdom. The Stoics teach us that it is not the criticism itself that harms us, but our resistance to it. By detaching from the emotional sting and treating criticism as raw data, neutral information to evaluate, we remove its power to wound. Criticism, whether just or unjust, is a mirror that reflects not only the perspective of the one delivering it, but also the depth of our own self-awareness. If a comment provokes a strong reaction, it often signals an insecurity or an area where growth is possible. The strongest minds do not fear critique. They welcome it as an opportunity to refine their thoughts, actions, and understanding of themselves. Growth often lies in discomfort, and embracing this discomfort with curiosity rather than defensiveness transforms critique from an attack into a tool for self-improvement. Just as a sculptor must chisel away excess stone to reveal the masterpiece within, so too must we use criticism, constructive or otherwise, to refine our character. Instead of fearing the judgment of others, let it serve as a compass, guiding you toward greater wisdom, resilience, and mastery over your own mind. Growth is uncomfortable. It pushes you beyond the familiar, into spaces where uncertainty and challenge force you to evolve. But discomfort is where transformation happens. It is in the moments of struggle, of facing resistance, that you become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Every great achievement, every profound personal shift, is born from stepping beyond comfort. The Stoics taught that adversity is not something to be feared, but embraced as a necessary component of personal growth. Seneca reminded us that a life without obstacles is a life without progress. The discomfort you feel in moments of challenge is not a sign of failure but an indication that you are stretching beyond old limitations, breaking free from self-imposed constraints. Discomfort is not an enemy, it is a mentor. It teaches patience, discipline, and endurance. It exposes weaknesses so they can be strengthened and forces you to develop a deeper awareness of your own resilience. When you embrace discomfort as a teacher rather than a threat, you unlock your full potential and cultivate a mindset that welcomes growth rather than fears it. The key is not to resist hardship, but to lean into it, understanding that on the other side of discomfort lies the person you are meant to become. And finally, letting go. Holding on to anger is like gripping a burning coal. Convinced that releasing it would mean defeat, you clutch it tightly, waiting for the perfect moment to retaliate, unaware that the only person being harmed is you. The longer you hold it, the deeper it sears into your skin, leaving scars that linger long after the moment has passed. Anger does not punish those who wronged you. It punishes you. It infiltrates your thoughts, clouds your judgment, and drains your energy. The Stoics understood that harboring resentment is a self-inflicted wound. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, letting go is not about absolving others. It is about liberating yourself. True strength lies not in the endurance of pain, but in the wisdom to release it before it consumes you. To master yourself is to understand that your peace is more valuable than any grudge, and your energy is better spent on growth rather than resentment. The moment you let go, you reclaim your power, and in that release, you will find something unexpected: clarity, freedom, and an unshakable sense of inner calm. Let go, not for them, for yourself. Release the weight, move forward, and in that release, you'll find something incredible: clarity, lightness, and the profound realization that true strength lies not in holding on, but in knowing when to let go. In the space left behind by resentment and anger, you'll discover peace, unshakable and enduring, waiting for you to step fully into it. Letting go does not mean forgetting or condoning. It means freeing yourself from the burden of carrying what no longer serves you. It is an act of self-liberation, a conscious decision to prioritize your well-being over past wounds. Imagine what could fill the space once occupied by resentment: renewed energy, inner stillness, a heart unburdened by the weight of past grievances. The moment you release the illusion of control over the past, you reclaim your power over the present. That is where true freedom lies, not in rewriting what has already happened, but in shaping how you choose to move forward. Let go, not as an act of weakness, but as the ultimate declaration of strength and self-mastery. Freedom. Mastering your emotions isn't about never feeling anger or frustration. It's about ensuring they don't control you. It's about acknowledging them, understanding their source, and then consciously deciding how to respond. It's about choosing peace, again and again, until it becomes your natural state, not through suppression, but through deep self-awareness and intentional action. Emotions are not enemies, they are messengers, revealing your inner state and pointing toward areas that require attention. Instead of fearing them or letting them dictate your behavior, Use them as guides. When frustration arises, see it as a signpost. What boundary was crossed? When anger flares, recognize it as an invitation to reflect. What expectation was unmet? With this shift in mindset, emotions become tools for growth rather than forces of disruption. True mastery comes when you no longer see emotions as uncontrollable forces, but as experiences you can engage with consciously. You are not at the mercy of your feelings. You are the observer, the decision maker, the one who determines how they shape your reality. When you realize that emotions are merely signals, not commands, you unlock the ability to navigate life with unshakable clarity and inner stability. This power is yours to wield. Choose to use it wisely. And nothing, no situation, no person, no fleeting emotion can take it from you. It is the quiet force behind every deliberate action, the anchor that keeps you steady amid life's tempests. When you embrace this mastery, you step beyond the reach of external turmoil, no longer reactive, no longer a victim of circumstance, but a deliberate force of stability. Each moment you choose awareness over impulse, clarity over confusion. You reinforce an unshakable foundation of inner strength. This is not just resilience. It is freedom in its purest form. That power? It's already within you. You just have to claim it. And when you do, nothing and no one can shake you again. At Practical Philosophy, we explore timeless wisdom and actionable strategies to help you cultivate this inner mastery. If this message resonated with you, consider subscribing to our channel for more insights on emotional resilience, self-mastery, and living with intention. Join us on this journey towards greater clarity, wisdom, and peace. Until next time, stay grounded, stay strong, and embrace the power within you. That power? It's already within you. You just have to claim it. And when you do, nothing and no one can shake you again.